because the U.S. left since October 7, 2023 has tossed across the Atlantic this idea that historic Palestine, Israel, is a settler colonial state. And yet, some of the same people who make that credible and justifiable notion do not necessarily see the United States of America as a settler colonial state. More than that, they do not necessarily see that under this settler colonial regime in the United States of America, what has existed since the time that the English invaded this part of North America in the 1580s in what they call North Carolina, as I pointed out in my book on the 16th century, it was a class collaborationist enterprise. That is to say, settlers comprised of different class backgrounds, from shopkeepers to workers to the 1% sponsoring them all from London, were joined at the hip in terms of trying to seize the land from the indigenous, and with a little bit of luck and a lot of pluck, could enslave Africans to work for free and therefore enjoy a bounty. And what you saw last night with this US election was another exercise in class collaborationism. The Trump coalition is comprised of elites. Not surprisingly, at the top of the socioeconomic pyramid is this so-called billionaire. But somehow many of our friends on the left don't want to recognize that there are millions of settler descendants in the working class and in the middle class who comprise that 71 million who voted for him, or the 75 million who voted for him in 2020, and that this has deep roots. More than that, I should add that what we saw last night was a continuation of counter-revolution. In my book, The Counter-Revolution of 1776, that when the slave owners led by George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, Patrick Henry et al., when they rebelled against the British Empire and seceded from the British Empire, they were driven not least by this idea that Britain was moving towards abolition of slavery. And plus, they thought, perhaps correctly, that Britain was seeking to restrain these settlers led by real estate speculator number one, George Washington, from moving west, waging war against the indigenous on the British dime so that these enslavers could profit. And so counter-revolution has been a major theme of this country in 1776, in 1876, when Reconstruction